Right now, the Dow is plunging about 3.5%. You see it right here on the screen, rattling investors. They are showing their concerns right here over President Trump's tariffs on almost all goods entering the U.S. For Americans already reeling from inflation, that can mean painfully higher prices. And Republican lawmakers have been setting that expectation.
There's going to be some slow pain, but I think there's going to be a lot of gain from it. What else are we going to do? We got a $37 trillion deficit.
As the president has admitted, tariffs will create pain for some businesses, and I think Wisconsin will be particularly hard hit with all the manufacturing and agricultural interests.
There's absolutely going to be short-term pain. The president's been clear about that. Everyone has. I mean, if you're going to remodel your house to make it better in the end, it's going to be really annoying in the short term when your house is getting remodeled.
Joining me now is that last Republican lawmaker you just heard from, Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana. Thank you for joining us. First of all, what are you hearing from your constituents right now about this?
Well, listen, there's concern across the board, as we see in the markets today. Uncertainty. I mean, the market doesn't like uncertainty. They want things to be the way they've modeled them for the last 30 years. And the last 30 years have seen a hollowing out of America's middle class, our manufacturing jobs, of American industry, really across the board. And we've centralized our economy around a knowledge-based, finance-based economy. And that's fine, but especially these last 4 years, we've been on a sugar high. Unprecedented government printing of money. Public sector investment. The government has become one of the largest employers in the nation by constantly growing our government agencies and printing money, pumping it into the economy. That can't last forever. The long-term impacts of that, even the short-term impacts during the Biden administration we saw, was record inflation, record interest rate rise, record cost of living increase. So we need to detox the economy and get back to free market fundamentals, and this is the first step in that direction.
Right, and under Biden, the inflation hit a 40-year high. But just to go back to the central question about your constituents, they are going to be hit by the impact of these tariffs, including higher prices. And economists really across the board are saying, yes, they could go up. We just had an economist on saying up to thousands of dollars for American consumers. What are you hearing from them? Is there a concern? Because, as you know, so many of them put Trump in office to lower prices.
Yeah, well, we heard from them on November 5th that they were feeling record inflation year after year after year. So there's not an inflation switch that you turn off and inflation stops. That's not how inflation works. Inflation is an insidious process that is the result of years and years of economic mismanagement. So printing trillions of dollars and pumping them into the economy, it totally distorts markets. I mean, many say the public markets were overvalued as it was because there was nowhere else to get the yield they wanted as those markets went to record highs. So the reality is detoxing from a record inflationary, a generationally high inflation isn't a switch that Donald Trump can walk over and say, I'm going to turn inflation off.
Right, but the policies he just put in place, economists say, I'm not saying that economists say, will actually add to that inflation. And I'm wondering, as a Republican, are you concerned this could backfire on Republicans for the midterms?
I mean, I think everybody's concerned about how we're going to stop inflation. And like I said, there's not something you simply do to stop inflation. That's why it's so challenging. That's why the Federal Reserve spends years trying to ease or loosen monetary policy to affect inflation. The fact that this may cause short-term inflation, that's certainly a possibility. But the point is long-term, making life affordable for working-class families again, making sure the blue-collar jobs that are manufacturing, that bring industry back. I mean, look at our ag sector, for example. Our ag sector gets decimated by other countries tariffing our beef imports, our shrimp, our catfish. I mean, you have Asian nations dumping millions of pounds of shrimp, catfish, shellfish. Australia dumps beef into our market. They tariff us at up to 50% of our exported ag products and then dump mass-produced ag products into our market, severely harming our farmers and our ranchers. So it's about time we have a level playing field for our business. For businesses for a generation now, we've let the rest of the world take advantage of that. That has inflationary impacts as well.
Why do you think then that the U.S. has been this global economic superpower for so long? And do you have concern that that could change as a result of this tariff policy?
We've been a global economic superpower since obviously the end of World War II. We've seen many changes throughout the years to our economic complexion. There's going to be many more changes to come. The only constant is change. But we cannot continue to hollow out American industries and send everything overseas. everybody seems to decry the fact we don't make cars here anymore. There wasn't some force field that dropped down. It wasn't a magical wand that waved that sent manufacturing overseas. It was government policy incentivized those industries to leave our country and incentivized them to go to other countries and sell products back in.
Yeah, certainly, globalization has hurt a lot of Americans. I mean, there are some Democrats who agree with you on that, but I think when you look at the playing field now and the practicalities, that means companies have to change everything, move back to the U.S., which could take years. There's the issue of finding workers. There's the issue of higher labor here, and there's the issue of a new president could be in office by the time they do all of that. So will they actually follow through with that? In terms of the short-term pain, how much are you willing to tolerate for your constituents?
The reality is we need prices to come down for working families. And that's not going to happen overnight. That's not going to happen. Like I said, inflation is not going to be a switch that we flip on the wall and it's going to stop. It's going to have to be a multi-year process to reorient our economy, to bring back middle-class jobs, to bring back our heavy industries in this country. We can't build ships anymore. China builds ships at 230 times the rate that we build. And every day we hear from Democrats and Republicans about how China's a threat, Russia's a threat. Russia's lost 4,000 tanks in the Russia-Ukraine war. That's more than our entire inventory in the U.S. military today. We can't build things anymore, and when the next war that everyone's concerned is coming, we don't have industry to build it anymore. So we need to start rebuilding American companies, incentivizing companies to invest in America. This is why trade unions have largely shifted their allegiance from a century of Democrat allegiance saying, you know what, globalization policies championed by the Democrats have hollowed out the jobs that the people who have made up the base of our constituency have supported us. Those jobs are gone. And we need policies to start bringing them back. This is what this is going to do. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or a quarter. There's going to be a reorientation of our economy. It's not going to happen quickly, but it's something we have to do. It's what the American people voted for. I mean, people that say Trump's doing things crazy, he's coming out of left field. This is exactly what he said he was going to do. Everything he's done in office is exactly what he said he was going to do. And now he's doing it. And the pearl clutching is kind of laughable to say, he's been telling us for years this was his intent. Now he's doing it, and the intent of these policies will be to revive sectors of the American economy that globalization has killed off in the last
Just
generation.
very quickly, how long are you willing to tolerate some short-term pain with higher prices?
I mean, it's probably going to be a couple of quarters as this happens. I think as we see companies reorient to the new economic reality, in the end, we're going to have a stronger domestic economy.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator Sheehy. We appreciate you coming on. We'll be right back.